So this is the novel aspect of it. And in order to create this expansion, you have to also legitimize this somehow. And this Orientalism, which is in a European context sometimes called nesting Orientalism. Bakic Haydn, that was a very influential article which was printed in early 1990s, demonstrated how this nesting Orientalism works in context of, in this case, of the former Yugoslavian countries, right? How elites were perceiving these nations as primitive, backward, and so on and so forth. Okay, that was as a matter of introduction. I will clarify things, but still remember, after having this presentation, we will be still able to discuss in more details. Not only narrow to this issue, because as I see some people are interested also in the general occurrences taking place in Eastern Europe with Russo-Ukrainian war and other things. So I'm also open for this inquiries if you are interested in. So feel comfortable, okay? This is, I'm just giving you a flavor, and I'm referring here to the ongoing project. So work is in progress. You don't need to feel intimidated. If you don't understand something, just ask, okay? This is not any superior type of knowledge. This is easygoing stuff. I will be trying to read a little bit, otherwise I won't be able to close myself within this 40 minutes I was assigned. And I don't want to finish this just in the middle of the line of the argument, okay? But I will be reading slowly and I will repeat some things. Now, so as I mentioned, I am concerned with certain implications of neoliberal political transformation on the semi-peripheral regions of Eastern Europe, with a specific emphasis on the extensive dispositions of land, properties, companies, public infrastructure by corporations from Western Europe and America. And this external ownership has resulted in a significant capital outflows from the region to Western core countries, right? So after the communist fall, when these corporations and companies from the West came into East, they usually outperformed in capital amount the local elites, capital elites also, and they got almost everything, at least these lucrative sectors of the economy. And even later on, when Poland joined European Union in 2004, along with some other places, the capital gains from these transactions mentioned in the first place, these dispositions of the major sectors of the economy, vastly exceeded the inflows which came from European Union. Because with accessing European Union, obviously there were these schemes for the politics of unification, as they say. Yes. So we benefited actually several of these subsidies coming from the West. Then, I am concerned, as I said earlier, about the mechanisms through which these processes of ideological naturalizations means that what is the very objective of ideology? Ideology, there are different theories. There is a Marxist theory, but there are also some, it's very famous, Marxist theory of ideology, what ideology is meant about. But there is also a famous Pierre Bourdieu's French sociologist theory of ideology. Ideology is meant to naturalize, to explain people or to make them to consent to certain proposal of the interpretative frameworks of reality as natural. So for instance, if we are having a certain, typically it is being used within the situation of social inequalities. As we know, societies are full of inequalities. People are smarter, people are dumber, people have more resources, people have less resources. And for many people, this is outrageous. They are not happy with this inequalities, yes? And therefore, there are socialist movements and others which are trying to close the gap. So ideology is meant to justify these inequalities. And sometimes there are really outrageous situations that, like in Eastern Europe, that Western corporations are coming, they are getting almost everything from you, and you have to still justify that this is for your own benefit, even though it is not for your benefit. So this ideology is meant to justify, naturalize this situation, that you are taking this almost like a laws of gravity, yes? A natural situation. There is a forces of gravity, so this is absolutely obvious and natural that Western corporations should own everything in your own country. So this is what I mean when I'm talking about the ideological naturalization surrounding this capital expansion, which reinforce the principle of dependent development. Because what is happening in semi-peripheral states of Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, it is sometimes called dependent development. Yes. So it is not a full development, but this is a dependent type of development. We are still heading development because in this sense I am far from extreme critical theories, left-wing type of theories proposed by some Marxist scholars who are talking only about the exploitation. This is not true, obviously. Yes. Poland and other countries in Central Europe are obviously improved a great deal. However, this is, according to this proposed inquiry I'm giving you, a dependent type of development, yes, which maintains, conserves this type of asymmetry existing between the core countries and semi-peripheral countries. And this dynamic aligns with well-known overreaching logic of the world system, which seeks, as proposed by Emmanuel Lewis, which seeks to curtail the potential for sustained capital accumulation outside its core. The world system is generally interested, and this is the overall idea of the capital expansion, to keep this asymmetry. More money is here, less money is here. And it needs to be that way, basically. And what it means, more money and less money? It means the chances of development, the chances of development are here are less likely than are more likely, yes. And you have a greater profit margin. The old wars in the world are always for this, not only for pure symbolic domination, but for profit margin. That you can spend more time for leisure, for fun, you can work less, you can benefit more things because you have greater capital revenues. But we have to remember about one thing at the very beginning, that in the current global state of capitalism, profits derived from capital is more important source of income than profits derived from conventionally defined work of labor. And what is also significant, a large part of global capital should be understood as inherited capital. Okay? So we are not talking about the abstract thing, we are talking about the very tangible thing. People are making a living out of capital, not necessarily on work of labor. And it refers to individuals, but also families and national levels. Okay? So I'm talking about something real here. And the durability of the accumulated capital at the level of countries or regions is a source then of spectacular stability of the economic development. For instance, in Europe, since Middle Ages, there is a certain stretch of countries from northern regions, from Italy to southern England, via Switzerland, Western Germany, where the major financial resources of the old continent are concentrated. And it has been this way since Middle Ages. There were wars, there were different things, but generally speaking, they miraculously always reproduce this wealth down there. Then the America, of course, came over, right, after especially from 18th century onwards, which somehow outperformed this critical, they call it like a curved banana or something like this place in Europe. And what it means? Yes, yes, yes. And this capital, we have to also remember, in turns is followed by political and cultural capitals, which results in concentration in this belt of the hegemony, political and economic decision making for Europe and beyond. So technological innovations are being brought here, which are then reproduced all over the world, and so on and so forth. But also certain ideological formats, political formats. What I'm inspired here,